me. He said, tell your story, write the story. He said, and God said, tell your addiction. Now, see, I'm not going to tell the addiction because you have to get the book to read it. But it was about deliverance. It was about what trials and tribulations we go through. People that come into our life, even people that come to try and break you down or draw you down, so that you can't stand for God or worship Him through your situation, because that's the adversary using them. We have to know that. But through it all, I was still praying and fasting. I needed help from God. I really did. I needed help from God to see me through. And for anyone that's going through, I say that this book is about different afflictions. Yes. Going through them, how you get through them. And I had a sister pushing me too, praying for me. I thank God for that again. Yes. But it also talks about deliverance. There is deliverance in the process. Yes. And you have to be willing to see yourself first, to know that you need deliverance. Yes.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
I know these. Hello. Thank y'all for tuning in. Welcome to Sunset Soul. I'm your host, Lava Dawn. I have with me my co-host, Miss Lisha G.
Hey.
And my guest, thank you for coming, Mr. Maurice.
Thank you for having me.
Good. And Miss Barbara Moore.
Correct.
Thank you so much. They are two of the representatives for Mr. Squeaky at the Kirk.
At the Ruth M. Kirk Recreation and Learning Center in Southwest Baltimore.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully everybody has had a good day thus far.
It was a beautiful day out today.
Was everybody else there?
You didn't think it was beautiful?
I mean, it was what it was. I had a long day. I had to go home and take a nap. I appreciate those midday naps. I mean, it was, you just get up and you just smile. Like, I was able to do that. I was able to really get a nap in the day before I got here.
I can't do it.
You can't do naps?
I don't nap. I sleep. If I'm going to go to sleep, I'm going to sleep. It's always sleep.
I don't like to nap either.
Yeah,
really?
I like to just get it in.
I had to, or I wouldn't be able to be here. And it's very rare that I actually get a chance to go home and take a nap.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it when I can. And then I literally came home and just like stretched out across the bed. Like I'm done. My kids came home from school. I don't even know what they was talking about. So I appreciated that. So I'm quite sure the day was a nice, beautiful day, but I couldn't. I was tired. It didn't look like it was going to rain. It was foggy this morning.
It was just beautiful. I mean, you know, I'm in the field all day, so.
Oh yeah.
It was just beautiful.
Today's topic is titled, "Don't We All Live in Houston? Why are their cries louder than ours?" We started to talk about it last week. Our discussion, we had a two-part show on last week. Was the second part of our show, Depression in the Church, and it was a really, really heavy two shows, and actually it was only supposed to be one, but it was it
carried
so
over. Yeah, so in
depth. We had to continue. So I tell people all the time, you know, Sunset Soul, we kind of push the limit a little bit when it comes down to conversations. We talk about the things that people don't necessarily want to talk about, you know, but that's what the platform is for, you know. But before we get into our topic for this week, I'm going to have my guests introduce themselves and kind of tell us a little bit about themselves. Just start with Ms. Moore.
My name is Barbara Moore, and I am the founder and executive director of an organization named Can't Close My Eyes. Can't Close My Eyes, speaking of talking about the things that people don't want to discuss, we bring awareness to child sexual abuse and rape violence.
Okay.
And we go all over the city, educating educators as well as parents and children how to protect themselves from predators. What to do in case they get abducted, what to do in case they get lost, everything child safety, and how the signs and symptoms of child sexual abuse, anti-bullying. Everything is about child safety, and we do mentoring for children. We teach them conflict resolution. We tell them the true African American history. And we just give them the truth about Christmas. And I call them the blessed and informed generation because they know the truth where we've been lied to for so long.
Blessed and informed information.
Blessed and informed
Blessed
generation.
and informed. All right.
Yes. And we also I do workshops for women. It's time to heal. And we're a support for those who have experienced in their families who have experienced child sexual abuse or rape violence. Okay. I've had it happen in my family. I was raped 22 years ago, several years ago in my 20s. 22 years ago, I wish. I kept a little dirty secret. I was shamed. I believe all the lies of the enemy, like it was my fault, like I shouldn't have went. It's called date rape today. Then it didn't have that title. It was somebody whom I was familiar with, who I knew and gave the benefit of the doubt. And I didn't tell anybody, but about 11 years later, my daughters were molested by my oldest brother, and I told the world. I prosecuted, I followed all the way through. I believed them right away. And I got them placed on the sex offense registry. I followed through with the court system. I did what a lot of parents don't do, a lot of people don't do. They want to keep it the little dirty secret and push it under the rug. I became the langiness inside of me roared up. And when I told other people, people start coming to me, and I start walking them through the system. And I did it for years, and then finally, now we're in the process of making it a nonprofit for 3 years, and we have done a lot in the last 3 years.
Wow.
God is good.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is needed.
Thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely. I was just talking to someone earlier about that, about how we just don't talk about it, how it's just easier, which in the long run, it's never easier. I'm not quite sure who makes that up, that it's easier not to deal with it. That's a farce. It might be easy today, but it's just going to continue to grow.
It's like an infection. It's like a cancer. If you don't take care of it, if you don't give it what it needs, then it's going to spread. It's going to spread into your relationships. It's going to spread into your career, your self-esteem, your spiritual growth. It's going to spread. And people do want to talk about it, but they want to talk about it to somebody whom knows exactly what they're talking about.
Right.
I know people who have been in counseling for years and years and years, traditional counseling, and they still in the same place. Why? Because that person sitting across the table from them don't know what they've been through. They haven't walked in their shoes. I refer people to counseling. I have resources and I have good communication with different places, and they rather not go. I know people that have been in counseling, traditional counselors for years, and still not heal because you don't understand what I've been through. And not only that, they still go back to the same place where their mother, their father, their grandmother don't believe them. Yep. But when they're talking to somebody who knows exactly what they've been through, they get more result. And they're more free about talking.
I was just great saying they're more comfortable. It's totally different talking to someone who can empathize with you than to just say, I understand. No, you don't.
And you have no idea.
Absolutely.
You have no idea. But that's what I found out. That's why AA works on the most part. That's why NA works. Because the majority of those people that are conducted those classes or those workshops, they've already been there. And they know what the true healing is. They know about all the shame connected. They know everything involved. They walked in those shoes. So they're able, and the person whom they're talking to is just starting out, who's in pain and confusion and don't know what to do or where to go. They can see where the recovery lies, how you can really heal.
And live, and maintain, and be okay.
Absolutely, and forgive. And so I've supported dozens and dozens of people over the years. I have a high level of confidentiality, and I've referred them to traditional counseling. But they would talk to me and communicate with me more than they would the counselor, or they'll start going, but they're not getting what they need. But when they have these long and drawn out conversations, even if it's the support families of the survivor, they get what they need because they know I've been there. I've been raped. I bear the cross, and my daughters were molested. But they get what they need. And they see the true end, the end of the road, the light at the end of the tunnel, true healing. I had to forgive my brother. I forgave him a long time ago. I had to move on. God had a call on my life, and that's to help others get through it. So I had to be totally 100% healed myself in order to help others heal.
Absolutely.
So I love Be Exposed. That's what I'm talking about. Let's talk about those things that people don't want to talk about.
Mr. Good.
Woo! and I am a huge fan of Miss Moore. And I, without knowing all of that, I was sharing this evening with, pieces of your organization
Thank
that
you.
I know of, because I've been such a huge fan since we've introduced.
Yeah, we
and,
have.
And, I mean, the work
Great
that you're doing
support.
is amazing.
To God be the glory.
Yes, indeed. My name is Maurice Good, and I am a Baltimorean who just returned to Baltimore from New York after living in New York for 20 years. Yeah.
Well, at least he came back.
And and what brought me back was sitting in my apartment in the South Bronx and watching the footage of the unrest. And I'm like, wow, like that's my city, And so I told my boss at the time, the very next day I was like, yo, I'm going home. And she just looked at me and she said, I understand. And, and so that June, I started making preparations to come home, and, I started my own nonprofit, and that was a struggle because as I'm looking to support others, other folks is like, well, we do our thing and, and all of this stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then it just by chance that I connected with Arthur, we call him Squeaky, who is the founder of the Ruth M. Kirk Center. Well, the brief history of that center, it was the Martin Luther King Center for many years.
Yeah.
And so he and his wife, with their personal resources, reopened the center after it had been sitting, dormant for maybe 20 some years.
Yeah.
And so it just so happened people kept saying to me, yeah, you need to hook up with Squeaky. You need to hook up with Squeaky. And I'm saying, who's the Squeaky guy? So I go around the center and I see him. He looked at me. He smiled. I looked at him. I smiled. And I was like, what is it I can do? He was like, man, whatever you want to do is all right with me. And so that particular year, this is 2015, I used some of my personal resources. I cashed in some of my retirement accounts to be able to fund the things that I was doing here. And so, I went and I bought school supplies and gave it to him, and that began our relationship. And then maybe 6 months later, he said to me, I want you to sit on the board. And so I'm like, wow, how God works, that this center is right across the street from where I grew up, from the house I grew up in. And so now, and just be transparent, I sold a whole lot of cocaine and heroin in this city, as a teenager back in the 80s. And so now I'm about maybe 1,000 feet away from the corner that I used to sell coke on, and now I'm a board member of this recreation and learning center.
A part of the village.
So
that's creating the healing.
It was
That is
really
beautiful.
crazy,
Yes.
and so that began, and then we changed the name due to the politics, but it actually worked out because who better to honor than Ruth M. Kirk, who's the late delegate for that community.
Absolutely.
And so it all worked out with us having to change the name from MLK to RMK, and so and in the community, that's what we do. We're all about helping those who are, in the most need. And so it's the children, it's the seniors.
Yes, absolutely. The vulnerable population.
It's those
the innocents
folks who don't know how they're going to feed their families. And so we go out, we bring back 2,000 pounds of food every week to feed the community. We just did our back to school drive. We're in the middle of a hygiene care bag drive because principals are telling us that them and their teachers are having to wash the clothes of the kids to get the kids to come to school.
Wow.
Yeah, it gets that deep. And so we're, all of those things. So when people say, well, what is it that y'all do over at Ruth Kirk Center? We listen
everything.
We respond to the needs of the community,
whatever,
and then we address it. That's what we do in a nutshell.
Because I noticed that whenever, because I've even asked, like, what can I do? And he literally says, what, because you need everything. You know, so there's no one thing that I can tell you that we need, because you think we have it all, then they're going to come. I would have never thought that you had to wash the clothes. I mean, I know you would get donations and so forth, and you may wash the donations to give it out, but I didn't think it was to that extent that you would have to.
And there was a study done recently where school attendance, children attendance go up by 90% when they have clean clothes. So much so that Maytag actually started supplying schools with washers and dryers.
Yeah. Wow. Listen, y'all, I need y'all to stay tuned. We are ready. This awesome conversation thus far. We haven't even started yet. And those who are watching, thank you so much for tuning in. If you could share this so that others can take part in the conversation. You know, we read your comments on your on the Facebook Live feed, or you can call in at 410-702-5657 if you have something you want to offer the conversation. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Ladies, are you in need of the best quality hair extensions, a cute outfit, or that perfect pair of shades? Pink Ice Products can cover you from head to toe, from flawless weaves to apparel. Visit us online at pinkiceproducts.bigcartel.com. We're located at 3000 Old Alabama Road, 119-303, Alpharetta, Georgia. Or give us a call at 470-488-6484. Come on in and check out Pink Ice Products today.
Man, it is what it is. Man, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is.
This fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer.
Hip Hop K, check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio at 9/11.
Coming to y'all soon.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Thank you for tuning in to BeExposedRadio.com. Sit back, relax, and listen to this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
Every time.
You just have to really
have faith and believe.
Right, and it's everything isn't going to be cotton candy and clouds all the time, but you have to, even in the midst of a storm, you have to speak light over a situation and life over a situation. You cannot always go into every situation. Sometimes it gets above you, and sometimes you got to speak over yourself and bring yourself back to focus, and because you're already there. But in most cases, we take ourselves there. We walk ourselves over that dark threshold because it's easy for us. It's easy for us to be victimized and to be downtrodden and in that dark place when things happen to us. But you got to figure out how to successfully move into that. And a lot of you may say, what does this have to do with being an artist? It has a lot to do with being an artist, because I don't want to just talk about ticket sales. I want you to be a healthy, long-lasting artist in your own right, a long-lasting entrepreneur. And sometimes we try to mask what's going on with us with putting ourselves to work. So I'm gonna put myself deeper into this project, and it was times where I didn't want to be a part of things. I didn't want to be, because I wasn't whole. I wasn't happy with where I was at, with things that was going on in my life, and I didn't care how successful a play was. Like I just didn't care, but all I knew was to work. So I would put myself deeper into work, and I didn't address what was going on, and sometimes that made the situation worse, because once this play or this project is over, I still gotta face that. So I was sweeping it under the rug and not thinking about it and not focusing on it, and all the while it's growing and festering and getting worse. And I'm over here just trying to be an artist, but you gotta heal from within, and it's an ongoing process, and you may never get to your destination, but the journey itself is worth fighting for. You know, even if you don't make it, you know, or you transition before you get there. But
like I don't have that if factor. It's like, you know, when we make it, like, we're going to make it. It's like I don't know. Some people's like I'm not knocking what you saying if, but my version of if is like it's not. It's like it's doubt, and I try not to have if in there, because if you have if, then that means it's a but.
The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on Be Exposed.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired Radio Show.
I'm just thankful this year I've dealt with, you know, some growing pains, and I've overcome some things, and I've also, you know, accomplished some things in the process. I've learned some things. Like, I've learned that, I learned that everybody loves your work until they got to pay for it. That's what I learned. That's what I learned. I learned everybody loves what you do.
The pay?
I mean,
not always.
Listen, the Bible says money answereth all things.
Well,
okay, and there is a place. There is a place where finances is necessary. And when you got kids, and when you got a wife, and then you doing everything, and you know you top dog at what you do, especially when you weren't in the same place you, like with this radio show, you ain't in the same place you were a year ago. Should nobody be coming on the show and not donating to your show?
Can you say that on my show?
Should nobody be coming to your show?
Can you say that in the middle of the live?
Make that a promo, please.
Should nobody come on this show without donating?
That is a nice commercial.
I don't care if it's $20.
Donate.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back. Before the commercial break, we were getting to know our guest, Miss Moore and Mr. Good. Both have nonprofit organizations focused on but youth at the end of the day. But you said earlier, I wanted to address you, the Ruth M. Kirk. They also help elderly.
Yes,
They're good as well. I didn't know that. I thought it was just primarily for the youth.
We listen to the community, so it's like whoever comes through our doors, we serve. That's the bottom line. If you can make it to the center, you come through those doors, you're gonna leave out better than the way you came in.
Awesome.
And the service extends outside the center. I have been with author Squeaky several times where we went and fed the homeless. Arthur and I work together. We've been knowing each other for 16 years. I call him my brother from another mother. And he supports me and I support him. And like I said, when he first went to that center, it was broke down. It was horrible. It was in chaos. It was unrecognizable from the day years ago, because it was a very popular center back in the day. And we went over there. Everybody got together, painted. Everything was out of his pocket, him and his wife. And we painted, we scrubbed floors, we did it with the children. The village got together.
Absolutely.
And like we were saying earlier, it's so much to do that is never enough.
Right. Which leads me into tonight's topic, because I'm quite sure everybody, there's no way you haven't, unless you're just watching DVDs all day, that you haven't seen the news about the hurricane that hit Houston. Hurricane Harvey. You got to be specific now, because now you have Irma,
yeah.
That is right. That's tormenting the islands.
I know.
Right
Stop,
now.
Keisha, stop.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We can't be selfish, Keisha.
Okay, we supposed to be going to the islands next month, and I'm feeling some kind of way, because it's like, no, leave it alone.
Right.
But neither here nor there. The storm tore up Houston. It looks pretty bad. It's very familiar. It isn't the first time we've seen this type of aftermath after a storm. But as I'm looking at the news and social media and all that, you're seeing different stars or organizations asking for help, of course, for the victims of the hurricane. Now, what bothered me is, at the time, I was scrounging. School was about to start, and I'm trying to get things for the kids for school and what they're going to get to just eat for tonight. And when they asked the question of me, I kind of got irritated a little bit. And I'm telling you the truth, because I said, you know what? No, I don't. It's not, somebody else may have it, and I hope they get what they need. I mean, this is not a question. I want them to get what they need. But it just bothers me, because we are struggling so much.
Right.
And to have somebody come to have their hand out saying, well, they are in dire need of XYZ. And I'm like, I'm not. You know, I am in dire need of XYZ. You're asking me to give you canned goods. I'm calling for canned goods.
Right.
You know, you're asking me, do you have a couple dollars to donate? I'm asking for the God parts. Do you have a couple dollars to donate so I can get some tennis shoes or whatever for school? Everybody is not everybody is struggling, but a lot of people are having hard times right now.
Right.
And I'm not in no way, shape, or form saying they don't need the help. And I'm not saying that their need is not expedient. I get it.
Right.
They are most are desolate at the moment, so they need the help. So I want to be clear that I'm not knocking those who have it to help.
Right.
My question is, why are their cries louder than our cries? Because as we all know, sitting here, the city of Baltimore is in a bad way.
Absolutely.
Right now. And
you got to be blind not to see it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So my question is, who is responsible for helping the city?
Well, I think part of it is, as a society, we're very reactionary, right? And so it's easier for me to disassociate from the reality that's right outside of my door, right? Versus what I see on television. So, I see Harvey on television. Oh, that's so horrible, and you know, we need to do something. And so, you know, I cut up a few extra coupons so that I can send some diapers or some water. But you know, the young lady down the street could also use some diapers.
Absolutely.
Right. But we disassociate ourselves because, you know, we create this lifestyle in our head, and sometimes we just, for our own sanity, we need to disassociate ourselves from what is really going on. And so we become very reactionary, you know. And so I love the line that Jay-Z had in one of his songs, I take care of the world that I know. You know, and so that's how I live, you know. And so with all that is going on with Harvey, or was going on with Harvey, we were doing a hygiene care drive for one of the elementary schools in West Baltimore, as well as the rec center, because that's the world I know.
Absolutely. Give me 1 second. We got to go to a commercial break. Those who are tuning in, if you could share this so that we others can take part in this conversation. The question on the floor before commercial break is, who is responsible for helping the city, our city, where we lay our head? When we come back, you can continue to leave your messages or call us at 410-702-5657 after we come back from commercial break. Stay tuned.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired radio show. Our topic tonight is the spirit of Thanksgiving. And I have in the studio with me my husband, Titus James. Woo!
Titus.
Hello.
Titus James.
Titus. We up here.
This man.
We like off the chain because we not, you know, it's right before. I can say it's right before a holiday. Nobody, you know, when you at work, nobody's. You know, everybody's thinking about that plate they're gonna get and their take home plate.
Right now, people are mapping out their the logistics of like the houses that you go to, because there are some houses that you go to for breakfast in the morning.
Right.
That's just me.
Right.
And then there are houses that you go to early. Like Brandy Mom, she likes to get you in there early, so that's like 3 o'clock.
That's early.
Yeah, that's early.
But some people,
her aunt and uncle, they have Thanksgiving at 12 noon.
So getting brunch.
Yes.
It's full dinner. It ain't brunch. It's macaroni and cheese.
Yes.
Do they go
beans.
out
12 noon.
Do they go out at?
Sometimes, nope.
Oh, they want you to leave?
No, they sit there, they eat, they like,
talk.
you know, play games, talk.
Play. Well, I guess it's better than having it at night because then it's late. And,
I mean, you be sleepy all day. I mean, because you sitting there, you eating all day,
and then the game come on.
In Virginia, they start early in the morning with waffles and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the waffles don't start all the way straight through dinner. They still making waffles, frying fish all day long.
Laugh that loud.
But then there's everything else in there too, turkey and all that the regular stuff. But they frying fish and making waffles all day long.
They never stop.
It's like fish, waffles, it's fried potatoes, all kinds of stuff.
What
all
happened
day
to the
long.
rest of the Thanksgiving food?
That's what I'm saying. No, all of that is
That's there.
But the special part about it is that everybody's coming because they want to eat a piece of fish.
Oh, okay.
Or they want a waffle.
Oh, okay.
So you be there all day long. You eat your waffle, your fish, and then you go and sit down somewhere and you play games and stuff. And then you come back later on if you want another waffle. You got the iron's hot.
They just keep it going.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
We're back. Thank you so much for those who stay tuned in. Before the commercial break, the question on the floor was who is responsible for helping the city? And you were ending your conversation. You were talking about.
So I mean, and for me, it's about the world that I know, and the world that I know are the people that I come in contact with on a daily basis, and so to others that may seem very selfish, but that's where I feel I can have the greatest impact. You know, is by impacting those who I see on a daily basis, because it's about relationship building.
Yes.
Right? And so through relationship building, you now know that I care, right? And because you know that I care, you make different decisions, right, in your life, in your lifestyle. So now that you're making different decisions in your lifestyle, your quality of life can now improve, and the quality of life for your children, your offspring, your relatives can now improve. And so just by knowing that I care and that you see me on a daily basis, right, can have all of the greatest impact. And so I take care of the world that I know.
I mean, that was the commandment that Christ gave us. That's the point of it all, is relationship building. First, we're supposed to focus our relationship between ourselves and God, and secondly, with those that are around us. I mean, those are only two things that we really need to focus on.
Naomi said before the commercial break, the old saying says the charity starts at home, and I agree. The way you think, as far as Mr. Good, the way you think, as far as I do where I know. You said, what did you call it? How did Jay-Z say it?
I take care of the world I know. I take care of
the world I know. Other people seem to do the exact opposite. It seems like what's right here, what's accessible to them, seems like they don't want to touch right here. I think that makes their reach seems larger when they send money somewhere. Like, is it a different feel? Because when you do things for people, you get a sense of, I feel good about myself.
A sense of gratitude, a sense of accomplishment.
So, does it matter? Is it a greater sense of gratitude when you send it far away versus taking and handing it to the man next door?
No. I believe, like Maurice said, that it's how we it's easier to look at their problem than to look at our problem.
Yes.
Some people are actually convinced themselves that we don't have these kind of problems, and they'll rather say, they'll look at the news, and most of us have compassion. I want a deep prayer, for the people. I want them, like you said, to get the resources they need. I want them to be helped, and I think it's necessary. But I got people right here in the city crying. And if I help, I send my little check or my Pampers or my toiletry over there, then I don't have to deal with this right here.
That's right.
People have on blinders. Blinders make us be delusional, and then it doesn't keep us accountable. We don't have to deal with that situation. It's not my problem. That's not here. That don't happen here. People are shocked of the things that I've seen.
I literally had to research just so I can have it for the show. with some of the things that's going on here in Baltimore. And I'm reading like, I know that it happened because you see it on the news, but I guess I do the same thing. I just don't want. I turn it off. I mean, it'll be on 11 o'clock, and if it's real bad, somebody will tell me about it later on because I don't want to. I just don't want to see it.
It's a lot.
You know,
it's a lot to take in,
right? Especially because it's right in your home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but what I don't understand is you have these TV shows, and let's just use TBN. They're famous for going over to Africa and finding the worst child with the biggest stomach and the most flies around them. What else would they do?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I mean, you know, I'm here for the trip, but that's what they do because they need people to sympathize and I want to, you know, tug at the heartstrings and to send money. Same thing with the hurricane. You don't have to do that. I know that they need it. I can see the water. I can see that they 9 times out of 10 lost, if nothing else, as you said, the first floor of their home. You know, you have churches. Joel Osteen, they had pictures of his church flooded, and they had floodgates around the church. So I can only imagine a house that wasn't properly protected. You know, so I know that. But my thing is, how many of us, and I know, just if you came here tonight, how many homeless people we rode past right here? Right. You know, children out here with the little squeegees, and they make me so nervous because I just believe somebody gonna get hit because they be running in and out of the streets to try to clean windows.
So you know they arrest them.
They arrest
they arrest the little boys, which is ridiculous. But that's
have you ever
now
witnessed
the mayor
really?
has the
the mayor has a squeegee thing.
Yeah, right, the squeegee court.
Instead of having them getting in trouble and keeping them for being what some would consider a nuisance or putting themselves at risk, she has them come in once a week, and people come down and they actually get paid to do the work. Right there in front of the mayor's office.
Yeah, right in front of City Hall.
Right in front of City Hall.
Yeah, on Hilton, those little boys are harassed.
Right.
But you know what? I look at those babies because I deal with so many children in trouble, and I love them, and I respect them, and they're not out there committing crimes. They're not bringing harm to their own community. You know, it's a lot worse things they can be doing. So I try to support them every chance I get. I just say a prayer for them, and I ask them to be careful. But I try to support them every chance I get because I don't know if you know, but me and Squeaky work for the Baltimore City Fire Department. So we see a lot every day. We see death in our city every day. We know, not just from growing up in the hood and living in the city. We work and we see this stuff. We see more than the police sometimes because they don't get all the calls. You know, we see so much every day, and we see our city dying. We see the cries. We hear them. And he was already your brother, sister, community, my people keeper anyway, and so was I. And then what we've seen impact us even more. We already had it in our heart, and we already were doing it anyway before we got in the fire department. But what we see every day is increase the need.
Now, which leads me to my second question. What do we have to do as far as attention to get that type of attention, to get help on a grander scale? Because though you have the heart, Squeaky has the heart, Mr. Good has the heart, you three don't have the means to save the city of Baltimore on a grander scale. You know, you had, as we were saying before the show started, you had this situation with Freddie Gray. You had this riot, and they had the same scene playing over and over and over and over again. Everything had settled. You know, the kids done did what they was going to do, done stole what they was going to stole, but they still playing the same loop. And I said, why do they keep showing that? And they was like, well, you know, it's for the media because they want to make it seem like Baltimore. So if you're doing that and you think this is what you think is happening, it's that bad, where our help at? Because if that's the case, we are under attack. If this is going on 24 hours a day, I mean, burning houses, where our help at?
Well, you know, and I shared this when we had our conversation off the air. Personally, I'm excited about the future of this city.
Absolutely.
I mean, from a grassroots perspective, there's so much exciting things that are happening around the city, east, west, north, south. Folks are coming together.
Yes.
I mean, I mean, it's amazing, but it doesn't get the recognition or the attention because that's
the negative get.
But because that's not what sells. That's not what's going to get advertising revenue for the media. Right, for the broadcast companies, that's not what's going to sell the the ad numbers, right? Ad slots. And so it's easier to continue to show that loop that you're talking about, Lakeisha, over and over, even 2 years later. It's because it's sensationalized. And so if I don't live in Baltimore City, I live in Centralville, right? And Centralville is a long way from Baltimore. And it might as well be a whole nother world. And so I'm saying, look at those savages.
Yes.
Right? Look at those savages. There's no way.
It is a whole nother world.
It's a whole nother world. And so because my association with Baltimore City is through the media, right? It's skewed. My perspective, my context, my lens is skewed. But for those of us who are on the ground doing the work,
the world I know,
the world we know, it's an amazing place. There's some really exciting things that are happening. You got young people who are now going horseback riding on a daily basis. You got STEM programs. You got, I mean, so much exposure for young people of color that me and Squeaky, we talk, and, you know, at night we're talking and we're like, yo, this is what we want for the summer camp. This past summer, we started summer camp June 20th, and we went all the way up to last Friday. Only camp in the city to do it, right? Free, STEM, etiquette, horseback riding, visiting the Naval Academy, visiting Annapolis, visiting City Hall. I mean, so much stuff. Right? But guess what? To be honest with you, we're not the only one.
Absolutely.
These programs are going on throughout the city.
Is.
Some remarkable grassroots nonprofits are doing some amazing work, right? Folks who moved out to Owens Mills, moved out to Randallstown, are seeing the work that their classmates are participating or started, and they're saying, well, how can I get involved?
Yeah, what can I do?
And that's what's happening. So
I'm not taking away from that. I mean, I appreciate that. I mean, we need it. That's the thing. I do think that we need it. But what I'm trying to understand is, where's the help so that we can do what you do on a grander scale? What has to happen in this city for Baltimore City to get the support on a grander scale so that you can do what you do for more than just West Side or those who can reach Ruth M. Kirk or reach your nonprofit organization, because it kind of limits your accessibility. I can only get those who can get here. Right. You know, you do have people in Owens Mills, you do have people in Dundalk that has suffered or who had, you know, the pain that you try to help ease, but they can't get to you. They don't know you exist, you know. So my thing is, if you're saying that the media wants to use this negative stigma of Baltimore and capitalize on it, okay, that's the same thing they're doing in Houston, and they raising millions of dollars in Houston. So my question is, if they're using all this negative stuff and there's more going into Baltimore, but what they're using in the media is everything bad, where is our help? That's what I don't understand. What makes a difference that we don't get the help that we need in Baltimore when all you see outside, people in West Bubba, Wichita, you know, at Los Angeles, all you see is the wire. All you see is the crime rate. So then if that's all you know that we have, or that's all you think that Baltimore has to offer,
so wait, where's the help supposed to come from, Lakeisha?
That's the question. I don't know.
Well,
you got, I was like, go ahead.
Well, just like Maurice said, it's basically we have to help ourselves. We can't wait for others to help us. Hurricane Harvey and Katrina and those natural disasters will bring more attention, more money, more sympathy. Everything, more sympathy. A lot of people look at Baltimore as we created our own problems. Exactly. How many times, like me and my husband travel quite a bit. How many times have you been in the airport or been in the islands or in Canada or even different cities? And they say, where are you from? I start saying Maryland. But I said,
no, because if you say Baltimore,
Lord have mercy, the looks and the oh my like God, I feel sorry for you. Yes.
Everyone.
You know, but we stopped that. I'm born and raised in Baltimore City, raised my children in Baltimore City, and my grandchildren are being raised. And I'm proud of my city. I love my city, and I contribute to its betterment.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful.
Me and my husband, that's where we go with them. Don't believe everything you see on the media. Come and visit.
Have you seen, and I don't know whether or not it's the movie Love. It was, I think it's about LUV. They had Common. It was so many people in it. This movie made me so angry. It was based here in Baltimore. I said the movie should be called Crabs and Crime, because that's all you saw was crabs and crime. And it made me mad because I'm looking at the cast, right? You got Common. I don't know the man that do the insurance with the deep voice. I don't know his name, but you know,
Dennis Hasper.
Him.
Yeah.
Okay. It was so many. It was a really like an all-star cast. Danny Glover.
I didn't
the little
see
boy
it.
who plays Tyreek in the Power. He just can't get it right in any movie. He gone. So he need to come to the Ruth M. Kirk.
He need to come to the Lord. He need Jesus.
But all these people are here, and it went from Common trying to get out the game, trying to do right, and he just couldn't seem to get out. And he took his nephew, and basically for one day he went with his uncle and learned the whole trade game. I mean, by the end of the movie, the boy was a stone cold killer and a kingpin. I don't understand how that happened. But the point is, every scene was, after when it started getting into the movie, was either somebody getting shot and killed or somebody sitting down eating crabs. So much so, come on, if you saw the movie, you might ain't love it. I mean, even down to Danny Glover to come over for dinner. What they eat for dinner?
I enjoyed the movie.
When he went to Danny Glover's house to set up whatever, what he had in the back of the truck, what they was moving in the back of the truck, live crabs. Everything was crabs. Then in crime,
because it was about how do you pronounce it? Cinematography, right? It was about the association Baltimore with its staple, which the staple image is crabs
and crime.
And that's what
that's not all we have to offer. It's crabs and crime. Yes. The boy was getting interrogated.
True.
At the end of the movie, drinking a cup of hot tea and what kind of chips?
Crab.
I was so mad because I mean it was just it was the principle behind the fact that I feel like that is not all.
But this I got you. Beyond this, I mean, this isn't just outside of Maryland. If you go far enough in Anne Arundel County, they think we're maniacs.
Right.
Baltimore.
Oh yeah.
So it's not just out of state. I don't know.
No. You ain't got to go to Anne Arundel. You can go to Fells Point. You can go down Boston Street.
But you know what? We have to change the narrative. We have to.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to tell you something that me and my man did. Me and Squeaky and one of our other good friends, Kenny Ebron. We went to Walmart right out Wabash or Washington Boulevard. We loaded up our cars with supplies, and over in the Eastern Shore they had a mini hurricane, right? So they had a bad storm, and we went over there and we took them supplies, right? And so just that kind of changed the narrative of how they saw West Baltimore.
No, that's how they saw two African American guys from West Baltimore, because they would definitely single you out from
that's the truth.
Listen, y'all, we gotta take another commercial break. Topic is, don't we all live in Houston? Why are their cries louder than ours? Highlighting the city of Baltimore. Stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to continue to dive into the conversation. We're still reading your comments, and those who want to call in, 410-702-5657. If you have anything to offer the conversation, we'll be right back.
Do yourself a favor and listen to this hilarious flashback on Charm City Direct Radio Show.
You know me. I eat like this all the time. Do I gain any weight? No, at all.
You can have my belly right now. I'm giving away body parts. Somebody said they need a butt. Somebody said they need a butt.
I can use a little extra tissue there.
I can pop it.
right now.
He out here giving out butt cheek donations.
Hey everybody, it's your girl, the magical glow getter herself, Anissa Maureen, co-host of the Charm City Direct Radio Show. Catch me and the rest of my team every Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
Ladies, are you in need of the best quality hair extensions, a cute outfit, or that perfect pair of shades? Pink Ice products can cover you from head to toe, from flawless weaves to apparel. Visit us online at pinkiceproducts.bigcartel.com. We're located at 3000 Old Alabama Road, 119-303, Alpharetta, Georgia. Or give us a call at 470-488-6484. Come on in and check out Pink Ice products today.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Check out what you missed on Be Exposed Radio.
I don't like stuff in my mouth. It's after what you was talking about.
It's in this commercial closing.
No, seriously, I don't. I'm a germaphobe. Everything on your body is dirty.
Everything.
So I'm damn sure I ain't gonna put it in my mouth. That's probably why I'm single. Thank you.
Is there a lies button?
Somebody slapped me on my face with one before. I had to get up and go wash my face. That was done. I said, how dare you? You filthy ass animal. Get the hell out of my house. It was a problem. Because it's like, clearly, you don't remember when I met you, I checked your teeth to make sure you had them all? Because that's a problem for me, too, your dental hygiene. Because if you're missing a tooth in the front, that means you don't brush your teeth at all. I'm sorry. And I know Jabro just had that tooth missing and all, but if I would have met him on the road...
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
I don't know if that's accurate. We are back.
The water? Like bottles of water,
like
and
one water
the
of
resources and stuff that they send, not they don't get money to recover or to help rebuild from their situation. Like I was telling you, my friend.
Oh, after the okay,
right. So they don't have. They gotta dig that.
I don't know unless it's in insurance. I don't know how that goes. Based on Katrina, no, because they all relocated, and I think at most they had people or places that helped them like get apartments.
Yeah.
I don't think it was no money given to anybody, no type of stipend or anything like that. It was just like you can stay here for 6 months.
And those things were taken care of, those sort of things.
So where did the bread go?
Well, to pay, I guess, the trust in people. Do you think they really gonna pay? You know, whatever they kind of, I guess they have to still pay for the apartments.
No, because a lot of people volunteered their homes to refugees, because they call our people refugees. Volunteered their homes to them as they got scattered abroad the nation. So
that's also what led me to this conversation, because when you see stuff like this, it's the aftermath. Like the money and things that we're sending is for the aftermath after the storm.
Right.
And people are displaced, people are broke, people are broken, separated. And as I'm reading up on the homeless population and women and children who have to flee because of abuse or any type of abuse, sexual, physical abuse,
domestic,
the aftermath is exactly the same. You're alone, displaced, broken, disheartened. We can go down a list of your mindset and stability after a storm.
It's trauma.
Trauma is trauma.
Absolutely.
And it
storm is a storm.
Absolutely. And I said,
and it's always raining.
Absolutely. That's what I said. I said, so they're flooded with water. We're flooded with crime. A flood is a flood.
Yeah.
The aftermath is the aftermath. When that water rescinds, they got bodies on the ground. We got bodies on the ground. And it's, like I said, it's not to take away from it, but what I don't understand is you have people like Kevin Hart and, as we said, Colin
Kaepernick.
Who is raising millions of dollars. So the day after everything happened, Kevin Hart had put a challenge out. And he said, everybody's doing these challenges, ice bucket challenge, blah, blah, blah. I challenge everybody to donate. I think he donated $25,000 or $20,000 or so forth to the, I think he did Red Cross, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And because there's no thought, and we were discussing coming back from the commercial break, the amount of money that they get. To my knowledge, I read, I think it's like 10 cents of every dollar that you send is what actually goes to the help, because they have to pay for the nurses, they have to pay for the doctors, they have to pay for a lot more than just sending, the money there. It's not like MoneyGram, I get that. But I mean, come on, 10 cents of what you send. Right. I see. What bothers me though is, so you saw the water, because at that time, everybody everybody wasn't even rescued. This was right when it started, and you saw this and you got emotional and you immediately acted and challenging people to send money. And my thing is, you saw the same thing with the riots. You see our mayor asking for the FBI to come in to help with the crime in the city of Baltimore, and crickets.
Well, I think part of it is the rationale for some folks is that nature is nature and it's beyond one's control.
That's true.
Versus what we're dealing with in terms of violence. For some folks who are disassociated or have been able to disassociate themselves, for them, the violence is man-made. And so if you just stop killing each other, if you just stop killing your own, then you wouldn't have the need for resources and all of those things, which is not true, because it's coming from a byproduct of something. Right. Right. And so we're talking oppression, right? It's coming from a place of oppression, which manifests itself in trauma, right? So we have a lot of folks in our community that are walking around with PTSD, right? It's abnormal to be able for a 7-8-year-old to hear bop, 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 and be able to say, oh, that was a 9. That's abnormal. But that's the reality that we have. An 8-year-old should not be able to tell the difference between a 9mm and a tech. Right? They're forced to have adult conversations.
But they learn this stuff on the radio and on the television. It's on all the videos. So we can't just blame our community. We have to educate our children.
Which goes into our next conversation. Well, we only have 1 minute, but when we come back, I want to get into the school system here, because let's take crime off the table then. Man-made, all right. But you want to talk about this $130 million gap that we need to close for the schools? That's
How much?
$130 million gap.
What happened to casino money? Oh, we're not going to talk about that.
We're going to go to commercial break. Listen, we just getting started. Please share for those who want to call and the number is 410-702-5657.
When we come
if you want to call after commercial break, we're going to get into the school system when we come back. Stay tuned. Yeah.
Ladies, are you in need of the best quality hair extensions, a cute outfit, or that perfect pair of shades? Pink Ice Products can cover you from head to toe, from flawless weaves to apparel. Visit us online at pinkiceproducts.bigcartel.com. We're located at 3000 Old Alabama Road, 119-303, Alpharetta, Georgia. Or give us a call at 470-488-6484. Come on in and check out Pink Ice Products today.
It's time for Flashback.
Now I'm not gonna say all areas.
Hey everybody, this is your girl, the one and only Thick Cows. Check us out every Saturday from 5 to 7, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Oh, recently? Yeah. I was talking about overall. No, two.
Two? That was Uber.
That wasn't Uber.
Yeah.
That wasn't. Yeah, that was Uber.
That situation with Uber, I think they told us about.
But this guy, you know, my whole thing is pay attention. You know, I don't know if this dude was trying to get home or something, but he was speeding. Now I'm with the flow, like, you know, do your thing. But when you taking me out of my way and you speeding, little suspect, trying to get my butt.
Like the Clemson guy from the Ohio State game.
Trying to
what?
Yes. Yeah. Now he picked me up from my job, right? And I'm telling him where to go. He refused not to go. And you're speeding. So I'm thinking, this is me. I'm in the back seat. He's speeding. I'm like, he trying to take me in an alley somewhere. You know. And so I'm a little uncomfortable. So I'm noticing, I'm looking at the GPS. It's telling him to go this way. He's going this way. And I'm like, wait a minute. You taking me out of my way. I know I curse like a sailor, but
I do too.
There's sometimes you just don't curse. And this one time was that. Hey, look, yo. I'm only going by what the GPS, yo. No real shit.
Oh. What? Oh,
real shit. I quit. Oh. Like, real shit? Really?
Wow.
So you cussing?
Wow.
Trying to get my butt? Oh.
Yeah, this the man that holds it down. Mr. Showtime, D the Boss. Check us out every Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
We're back. Thank you for those who have stayed tuned. Prior to the commercial break, we were talking about the $130 million gap that needed to be closed for the city schools, and Mr. Good got into that. He said that they did, in fact, close the gap.
So between the governor, the mayor, and the new CEO, they came up with a strategic plan. The state came to the table with some money. The mayor came to the table with some money, and then the CEO figured out how she was going to, rework her budget and kind of, as they say, trim the fat. And so they have closed the gap. But we're going to be back having this conversation again because school systems don't make any money.
Right.
It's a business model that doesn't reap profits. And so you're going to always have this conversation, and people talk about mismanagement, and it's not a matter of mismanagement. Lights cost. Yeah. Lights cost, heat cost, new furniture cost. Now we're going to 21st century schools, so you have to update technology. These all are expenses, and so they have to be covered. And guess what? Where does the money come from? Right? So again, it's supposed to come from the Maryland Lottery, supposed to come from the Gaming Commission, gaming and the Horseshoe and all of these folks. And there's much debate as to what's really happening about where the money should be coming versus where the money is actually coming from. And so again, I guarantee you in a few years, we're going to be right back saying, hey, now it's 175 million, and people are going to be like, oh my God, my kids. And you're going to have a mass exodus of teachers again, leaving for the counties.
About 1,000 teachers that were, or not just teachers, but workers for the
they started with 1,000 and then they closed it down to 200. So it wasn't 1,000 that was because they found the money. So between the state, the city, and the school system, they found the money, and so they were able to close the gap. I think it was 200 people who actually ended up being laid off. But then they went from having a surplus in terms of teachers to then they had a deficit because there was a mass exodus in Baltimore City schools because folks are saying, hold up, I got a mortgage, I got car note, I got tuition.
Take this chance, right? You can't play with exactly. But that gets back to what we were saying during the break in reference to them lying to us many years ago in reference to the lottery. There's no way in the world that we should be in this type of deficits with our school system with all the monies that they make off the lottery twice a day, every day of the week, let alone the casinos.
Right.
There's no reason in the world. And I'm going to tell you, the whole state has been affected, but Baltimore City is suffering terribly. The school system in the Baltimore City is, we get the worst teachers, we get the worst funding. There are some good schools. And I fault the parents to a smaller degree. I believe your child's education is as good as your involvement.
I agree. I'm gonna be the first to say I don't go to I go to the PTA stuff but every time I get a phone call about the different community, I don't go. I don't have time to go. I got to go to work in the daytime and I come home. I got to do laundry. I got to. So it's not necessarily because I try to assume that there are other people that have the same thought as I. It's not so much that we don't want to. It's just
it's not enough time in the
schedule that we have. So is there, but there's really no room for compromise, and I don't know if they even consider that. I have to go to granted I am in the county, but I have to go to a training for a device for my son that he's just gonna break it. And it's
why do I gotta be trained? He should be trained. I know how to work a tablet.
Right.
Well, that's how I interpret it.
But the training is to remind. But the training is to let you know that you're gonna have to pay for it.
Yeah, you're gonna be being responsible for it.
Trust me, we know. Yeah. We are very clear on that. Because that's what the school system does.
But that's mandated. So I'm gonna have to take off work to go do that because.
Yeah. And I think also we've lost population in the city. Right.
They said 100,000, but 100,000 people. But that was dealing with the crime. The crime rate went down because we lost 100,000 people. That's a little bit scary. What is it? Catch-22. We get more people. We have more funding, but then does the crime rate go back up? I don't know how to feel about that.
Does the stat tell us how we lost the people? Did they move to the county? Did they?
Well, relocate? So and it's a combination, right? So there's no one bad pill. So folks who've been able to get promotions and the Jeffersons moving on up, right? So you have folks who've left East and West Baltimore and now reside in Owens Mills, right? And so that's not a bad thing. You want to be able to put your child in a school system that you think will grant them, that will give them the best return on your investment in your development of them. So you have folks who have left, let's say, Orleans Street and now living, in Randallstown or Oldington and all of these folks, right? And so that's part of it because the people just want to provide a better quality life for their children, for their family. So that's part of it. And then the other part is that people are frustrated. I hear this on a daily basis. Like, Maurice, I want to stay, but the reality is these people are pushing me out because they won't do anything about the crime, right? They won't, and they constantly.
I just said earlier, I'm
absolutely, and they constantly raising my taxes, right? So they constantly raising my taxes. You're not giving me any improved services for the tax increase. And I'm still dealing with out of control crime. So why should I stay in Baltimore, right? So you had those folks who've left, right? And so it's a combination of, the two, people doing well, people frustrated.
Don't forget about the people that applied for Section 8 and MBQ, and they made them move to the county.
Gentrification. That's the one word.
I'm serious.
This ain't.
We will pay your rent if you get out of the city.
Oh yeah.
And that's and that was a large population.
Pay my rent, and I'll leave the city.
Section 8
absolutely. I sure would.
They opened the Section 8 up that has been closed down for I don't know how many years. My daughter's 18, so at least 20 years. The Section 8 waiting list was on freeze. They opened it up 2 years ago, a couple years ago.
Wow.
You can get it if you're getting out the city.
But what I don't understand is they're doing this, and then I have the stats here as far as the abandoned buildings and all that. Using gentrification, we're moving, and that is what I used for the summer camp. I told you we talked about gentrification. I explained to them that it's called an illusion of inclusion. It's an illusion that make you feel like you want to come up. You are not George and Weezy, because George and Weezy work for that.
Exactly.
Okay, you ain't work for that.
Yeah.
But they making you think you did something. No, you are going out to the royal areas. You must remember that county was nothing but
flatland.
That's it. It was trees and they was just growing stuff out there. It was completely royal. In the city was where the industrial stuff was at, where people was actually
what you can get to.
And this was right. So they wanted to. They all we doing is swapping spaces.
Exactly.
That's it. Now because everything is here, and this is where they saying the money is: the casinos, the racetrack and all that. This is
to come back to Baltimore. The Live Where You Work program, they'll give you
absolutely, but they not going to do that
if you work.
If we have this type of people.
Let's tell the truth and shame the devil. The majority wanted the city back.
Right.
And the minority had to go.
That's exactly what Paula Small just said. She said, because they are fixing up the city for the other races. If
Absolutely.
You know what I mean.
I know. Let's say it.
And it's not so much racist.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not even going to say racist because we have a classist system now. If you have enough money, you can buy your spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's I try to stay away from the whole using racism as our go-to. Okay, oh well, they just being racist. No, we're playing into the game. We're being played, and we won't learn enough.
It's the majority. That's the reason why racists still come in, even with classes, though, because it's the majority in the class.
Absolutely.
Don't look like us.
That's true.
So that's why it still goes back.
That's
to
why
that
I said
when
it
you
that
are
way.
Explaining it.
The majority.
Yeah. It's not. It ain't. It's just not. And I don't. And dealing with kids. I need to be specific. They go with what they can see. They don't understand. Right. That's the reason why I did. They didn't understand, social class and all that. Right. We can get into that. At the end of the day, they ain't expecting you to have this amount of money. So they're going to tell you, you know what? I'm going to give you to keep you quiet. It's nice out here. And they some nice apartments that they building up out there.
Houses.
Yes.
Houses.
Well, yes. I think part of it is though. History repeats itself.
Yes,
right?
yes. That's what my husband said.
So let's go back 1940s, 1950s, right? We migrated, right? So we migrated from the Deep South to the Detroits of the world, right? And when we did that, they left. They called it white flight. And so they left to the suburbs, right? Because you had a whole new system, a highway system, right? And developers were able to create on those flatlands, right? And build them those beautiful homes and so forth, right? And then they got subsidies so that they could purchase those beautiful homes, right? Oftentimes they don't talk about the subsidies that folks got back then.
Absolutely.
But now history is repeating itself. So folks are now coming back into the city, and we're being pushed back out to the rural areas. So this is the great migration for black folks in the reverse.
But they don't see it because it is an illusion of a come up.
It is an illusion of a come up.
Gardner just said the crime rate, tax increase, Section 8, all are part of solid
and that's
plan.
what I was about to say. Okay. Yes, because all of those things brings the value down in the city.
Yes.
So the property value in the city is now going to drop because of the crime rates and the high taxes
and the boarded up
and the
homes.
Yes. And so now it's all going to drop. So when those of us that do own property decide, okay, I can't stay here anymore, I'm going to sell, we're going to sell low.
That's right.
Right.
So they're going to buy low.
Yeah. That's right.
And they're going to build it up.
Exactly.
And then they're going to sell high. We won't ever be able to get that.
Because think about it. This is what happens, right? So I purchased this property for, let's say, 15, 20,000, right? And so because now I have a commodity. Because I own this home, I have a commodity. And so I go to a lender and I say, I want to do home improvement, right? And so I want to put a deck, or I want to redo, capital improvement plan. And so I'll redo certain things. And now it skyrockets, gradually, but it skyrockets. And so my value now goes to 150, 200,000, depending on the neighborhood, how long it takes, right? And so those are the conversations I try to have with us about hold on. right? Hold on and do whatever you can to kind of improve your commodity, to add value to your commodity.
Flight is not the answer. Running away is not going to bring the changes. And I ain't hating on nobody that moves to want to come up, that can afford to come up, going to Owens Mills or wherever to move to give their family a safer surroundings, a better education system. But come back.
Right.
Give back.
That's right.
Because if we don't, as you can see, ain't nobody else gonna do it.
And we will never get it back.
Nope.
We will never.
I can't call myself my brother or my sister keeper if I'm not taking care of my community or my children. These innocent children. And that's what the center does. The Ruth Kirk Center, we try to deal with people holistically. That's the whole family. People get away from that. They judge.
That's right.
They judge. Like I said during the break, I'm a human trafficking trained volunteer. And I go out there and we see adults, sound, sane mind adults that's out there on the street. And people judge them. They judge them. They look down at them. They think they're despicable. Those who are hiding and still going to see them, but in front of their others, they talk bad about them and they make them feel like trash. I did it because we have to remember that the 35-year-old that's out there on drugs is still the 8-year-old that never got any justice. Nobody believed them. That's true. We cry for the 5-year-old that was molested, and we're outraged about the 8-year-old that was raped, not realizing that 35-year-old, that 25-year-old, that 45-year-old is still the 8-year-old that never got any help.
That's right.
We got to stop judging, and we got to just help.
That's it.
If it's no more than a prayer, we got to give back.
Absolutely. Listen, y'all, we are going to continue this conversation after this next commercial break. We're still reading your comments. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much. LeVar Harris, he said this is good. So let's keep talking. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. If you want to call 410-702-5657 after the commercial break. Stay tuned.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Marnie, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Hey everybody, it's Marnie, the executive producer here at BeExposedRadio.com, and I'm here to talk about my show. I know, how selfish, right? Talk Lately with me, Marnie, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. So what do we talk about on this show? I can tell you this, there has never been a show that I have gotten completely through the full agenda because our topics, our conversations are just that damn good. I cover politics, gossip, entertainment, and hey, I love a good panel discussion. Hey, get a group of people in here and let us debate it out. That is the best thing in the world. Not to mention, I take calls and texts, and I'll debate with you too. So why don't you get involved and be heard? What's that old adage? Closed mouths don't get fed. That says it all. So join me every Tuesday at 7 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com. Call me at 410-702-5657. You can text at 443-642-9403. And don't forget to be heard and vote in our weekly poll right on the website. Check it out.
Yeah, this the man that holds it down. Mr. Showtime, D the Boss. Check us out every Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
I'm in a relationship. My girl happens to be long distance. So with that being said, I beat my thing like it owes me money. Sorry.
Because I asked that because so many people are not comfortable.
Here's my thing. It's mine.
That's right.
And you need to know yourself before you can have somebody please. If you can't tell nobody how to please you, if you don't know how to please yourself.
That's right.
You know what you like. You know what you like. You know the stroke, all that. So you're right. And I mean, you shouldn't be ashamed of it. It's your body. Yeah, I'm over here struggling with the ear.
Yeah, I'm glad it's you today. I'm glad it's you today, brother.
Oh, this thing going to drop. It's going to drop about at least like 5 times.
I'm over there struggling.
So, E.D., do you have a problem with masturbating?
No, I don't. I don't masturbate often because I have a fear of going blind. So, yes. When
going blind?
I found, yes.
You could go blind from
yes. I read about it. Is that true? No, it's not true. It's not. Okay.
Because I was gonna say I should have been blind a long time ago.
Let me drop some knowledge on you real quick.
I was just playing.
But
Hey, what's up, good people? It's the man you all know and love, E Digger. Make sure you check us out every Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey, we're back. Before the commercial break, Ms. Moore was talking about what I wrote down as we cry for the child but ignore the adult. That's what I wrote down, and which to me takes us right back to the school conversation.
That's right.
You looking at this 30-some-odd-year-old and you're judging them, but they don't have the proper education to go but so far in life.
Absolutely.
You know, it limits them. What I saw with reading today is that there were 6 Baltimore schools that had no student proficiencies in state testing. 6. And you know how you read something and I was like, oh wow, it was 6 schools. Then I had to go back like, wait a minute, not one student could pass the test focus on math and English. Those were the 2 tests today that no one could pass, which is the like you need those 2 things. Not one, like not even one.
Well, you know, man, I'm starting to see I'm in a whole lot of different areas. Unfortunately or fortunately, I was a consultant with a charter school last year, and I got an inside view of what's happening with the school system as a result of being, you know, in the school community. And part of my learning curve was understanding that there's a lot of trauma, right? And this isn't making excuses. This is the reality of our situation, right? We have a lot of young people who have trauma based on a lot of different variables. And so because I have this trauma, part of it is that I have some form of learning disability, right? And so now I'm a teacher, right? So I'm a teacher and I have, let's say, 20 kids in my classroom, right? 5 of those kids are, you know, have IEPs, right? And the IEPs varies, right? So one may be severe emotionally, one may be dyslexia, one may be something else, right? And so you got all of these things. Then going back to what Barbara was talking about in terms of the sexual, you know, the sexual trauma, the domestic trauma, the physical trauma, right? That I haven't shared with anybody, right? So I'm dealing with all of that. And then I'm being teased because I don't have the latest clothes, right? So as a young person, I have to deal with all of these things. Now, guess what? Let's flip it. I'm the teacher. And I have to deal with these 20 personalities, right? I went to school for education. I ain't go to school for social work.
Right.
And so now, but I'm being asked to be a social worker in this classroom. I'm asked to be mama, right, in this classroom. I'm asked to be all of these things and wear all these different hats, right? And guess what? So if my class is, let's say, 55 minutes, right, it may take me 25 minutes to get them to sit still for the lesson, right? And so the lesson is supposed to be, let's say, 40 or 45 minutes out of that 55, but it may take me 25 minutes just to get them to settle down. And so now I'm into the lesson, but now they bored because they know that the bell is about to ring in 10 minutes. And so guess what? They back up to who they are. How the heck am I supposed to get them to be proficient when I just got them to sit still and absorb a 55-minute lesson or 45-minute lesson, and we only got through 20 or 25 minutes of that lesson? And you're holding me accountable for making sure that they're proficient. right? And we love to blame the teachers, parents. I saw it on a
Absolutely.
daily
That's what it
basis.
brings us back to. Your child's education is as good as your involvement. And it don't mean you have to be there every day. I was fortunate enough to have the option to work night work. And I did it for that very reason, so that I could be actively involved in the daytime occurrences of my children, especially considering when I was a single parent for years. And every school, from the superintendent down to the custodian, knew me by first name. Because I felt like, that if I don't get involved, they're not going to get what they need. It's my responsibility to make sure. And even if you're a parent that's working the day shift, you can, check your, my daughters have their teacher send a mojo, and communicate. And everybody, the teachers are texting now. You follow up. Make sure your children are doing their homework. I ran a daycare center for 3 years. And in my home, I did daycare. And I wouldn't do homework because it belongs at home. Right. You're not going to blame me and the teacher because your child is lacking in one way or the other. And getting back to what you said, Maurice, with all the things socially that these children have to deal with, is a term that we use in the fire department, they use in the military. It's called the walking wounded. There's so many of us, and it starts that young, that's going through so many things, and we're walking around, we're getting around, we're still living, but we're not really living. And our babies are crying out, they're suffering. They're not getting what they need at home. The educational system, the teachers are overwhelmed, they're underpaid, especially in Baltimore City. I raised 7 children in the school system. I know what I'm talking about. It's horrible. The teachers face a lot. They're not getting the assistance they need from North Avenue, from the administration, or the parents.
And they're dictating to them exactly how you're going to teach.
And then I want to say this real quickly. I don't believe in that word disability.
That's right.
I believe that children learn differently.
That's right.
And there's no way that one teacher is going to be able to cater to all the children's different needs.
That's right.
And that's why they call everything standard. How is that possible?
That's right.
How is that possible?
To pass the test. That's what they're teaching them. They're teaching them how to pass the test, not to retain any information, but how to pass the test.
To get the money, the funding.
My son has three reading classes, titled differently, but all of them were reading and writing. All of them. Why would he need to have a language?
English, language, arts.
English, language, arts, and it was another writing class. Why did he need all of those? Because you want him to test well.
That's right. That's right.
You want him to test well.
But it's still not happening. Is what that's what I don't understand. Like, it's like they're focusing on just this, which limits them to today. Which limits them for that test. And I don't want, because I want to do a Rachel's on here now. Rachel Nichols. She's supposed to come on our show when we do the school. I will hope you will come back when we have the in-depth conversation about the schools. I don't know when we're gonna actually do that, but maybe let's see how this school years go before we go. I don't want to keep going by, because that was last year. We're under new administration now, so let's give them a chance to see, if they do what they claim they're gonna do. But what I don't understand is that you have people, we're saying we're in this place in Baltimore is suffering and the crime. We have a phone call? One minute. No, she just said a phone call. Who is it? It's not who is it, but is they on the line now? Okay. Can you hear us?
Hello. Hi, how are you?
How you doing?
Fine, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
Okay, I wanted to talk about the subject that y'all have going on today.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, hi. Okay, so my name is Beverly, and I live in the city. And basically, I wanted to talk about, like I was going in the city, and one thing I wanted to address was the Section 8.
Okay.
And I think the Section 8 is a trap, because if you live in Section 8, then you are really working to stay in Section 8. If you get a voucher, you only have to work a certain amount of days to keep your voucher. Nobody polices your voucher. And then it's a generation of, if you live in Section 8, you can stay in Section 8 when all your children is gone. You can still live in Section 8. I know persons that are 50 and 60, 7 years old, still living in Section 8. And if their children was ever on those vouchers, they can get into a thing called QMB or something like that, or QBM, and stay on Section 8. So it's really a trap is to keep you from further education because if you can make a certain amount of money, then you won't get the vouchers anymore. But if you make a certain amount of money, you can be free to go and do what you want to do. So the Section 8 is really a trap, and I hope that our people will see what it is for. It's to keep you boxed. You don't think that you're enslaved, but you are definitely boxed with Section 8.
Absolutely. It goes hand in hand, because if you don't educate properly and then you give somebody a handout, that's comfort. That's great.
That's comfort, yes. They can become complacent and don't want to do anything because they know that if they work 15 days a month for this amount of monies, their vouchers is fine.
Yep. That's it. And it gets us nowhere, and that is not, we're not ever going to get in a position that we can help our community, our city.
We can't because we can only manage for ourselves.
Yep. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Beverly. Beverly.
Beverly? Okay, I was fiddling with this thing. Yeah. Thank you so much for calling in, Miss Beverly.
Thank you. Take care. Y'all have a great show tonight, too. Thanks.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Have a good one.
Can I just comment on that? Because it's funny.
Ooh, that's loud.
I met with a workforce development administrator, and the person said to me that they helped a person get a job, and the job was paying $13 an hour, and the person, the job seeker that they were seeking to, that they were trying to help, told them, I can't take the job. And so the workforce person said, well, why not? And the person say, it doesn't pay enough. They pay my rent, they pay my health insurance for me and my children. They give me cash, they give me, TANF. I'm getting all of these benefits that is way more than $13 an hour, so I can't take it.
Yeah. Listen, give me a break. We got to go to a commercial break. We're going to continue the conversation when we get back. Thank you so much for Miss Beverly for calling in. Those who are still live, we're reading your comments. Stay tuned.
Check out this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show on BExposedRadio.com.
If you had a dream venue, where would that be? Like, some people want to do Carnegie Hall or like a big stadium somewhere.
I want to go with Madison Square. I wanna feel that building.
You just gonna shoot for the moon.
I wanna feel it. I wanna look out and just feel the vibration of all of those people there to be uplifted and all of that, because that's what I want to do for people.
So are you dancing? Are you?
I want to implement that. I think I want to start doing some blocking, like not like tear it up, but just like a
little 1-2,
hell, a little not voguing, but kind of the essence of it, very posy and hit the mark. Yeah, we're not trying to like bust out sweats.
So that's mean you don't have the dance gene and you.
I can dance.
Okay,
that's not what I was doing. I can dance, but I'm not, trying to get that. That's not my lane. I want to keep it really kind of a retro feel with like the new school with a retro feel. Like
okay. Little Banji Soul.
Yeah.
People gonna start using that.
Right. And they should.
Little Banji Soul. Yeah. But this market, so people know, like this was mine.
This where it came from. Because people was queens out here now that was princesses last week. They was princesses before my album dropped. Now they queen or something. Like, pinky up.
I cannot. The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
We're back. Prior to commercial break, Mr. Greg was talking about your friend. They turned down a 13.
So I'm part of what I do. I'm in workforce development. My day job, I'm in workforce development. And so I was talking to another workforce development professional, and this person was telling me how they helped someone get a job at $13 an hour. And the job seeker, told the workforce person that they couldn't take the job at $13 an hour because the system, you know, and that's very vague, you know, the system. But they were receiving money, subsidies for their rent. They were receiving TANF. They were receiving cash, and they were receiving health insurance for their children. And so the package, right? So let's just call it the package of subsidies. And so the package of subsidies that they were receiving outweighed the $13 an hour. And so the workforce person said, well, don't you think that you would feel so much better about yourself if you made your own paycheck? And the person, you know, and job seeker was like, well, I don't care about that. What I care about is not having to struggle.
Well, like Miss Beverly said, it's kind of modern day enslavement, bondage. It keep you unmotivated and comfortable. And to be honest, $13 an hour, and what would the healthcare costs? You know, transportation. It's not enough money per se to give up what you already have and what you're accustomed to. Because then when you take that $13 an hour job, then what other resources you have? It's not gonna match up. And we ain't gonna even talk about daycare. I've heard the horror stories about daycare.
I suffer personally. I made my little $25,000 an hour, and I was all proud of myself.
$25,000 an hour?
I mean a year.
Oh, I'm about to
$25,000 a year, and I was so proud of myself. And my daughter was 2, and I applied for daycare vouchers, and they said you have to make $24,999.
That's how it was. My mother, $75,000. I'm sorry. We got a question real quick. We go. The viewer, Prophet Robert, actually said, how old was the person that made the comment, I guess, about the job? That said no. How old were they?
To my recollection, the person was like maybe mid-20s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mid-20s.
That would be expected. It's all in how it's explained and presented, because at $13 an hour, that person would have still qualified. And see, when you know the system and you know the game, you play it well. They still would have qualified for medical assistance and could have possibly still kept some of their subsidies. But we have to know what the system is telling the people.
Absolutely.
So we can properly inform them.
And they don't want to take the chance.
Right.
Because when I was getting it, I was scared to say what I actually made, because I don't know. But that goes back to education.
No, they're gonna find out.
Because they give you the form. You should know how much you may get. They tell you, if you make this, you can't get it. Don't even waste your time. You know?
Right.
But nope, they're not reading. They're not, looking for the stuff. They just gonna go in and all they heard was $13 an hour. That's intimidating to them, because then that what I'm hearing is I'm not gonna be able to get my cash assistance anymore. At the end of the day,
you won't be able to get your cash assistance. But and again, personal experience. I work part-time. I wasn't applying for cash. I was applying for other benefits. They wouldn't give it to me, any other benefits, because I wouldn't quit my job. Because they needed me to come to their program.
The workforce. Which I never. You wait a minute.
So don't go to work.
Workforce program.
Go to the workforce program. I know you have a job, but that's not good enough.
Right.
Quit that.
But is that funding? I would assume that they get funding for those people who come out for the workforce program.
Funding, yes.
And that goes back to my question, because that's the higher reach.
The federal
this
funding.
is right. So you see, you got a group of struggling people here, and you giving us pennies. What's the difference between us and the Red Cross then? Because you complain about them getting 10 cents of a dollar. You got all this federal funding for state. We can't make but so much to get this little bit. You can't have but so much. You can't have my mother 60, now she's 70 if I'm not mistaken, because years kind of coming together now, but she had a stroke in 2012. She lives with me. She's been with me from the day that I found her at her job on the floor to date. She lives with me,
right?
And she does not get she was getting retirement, but because she had done some things prior, they're taking the retirement. Now they were taking her retirement long before she had the stroke,
right?
It was overpayment. But point is, now that she had the stroke, I couldn't get any assistance. She couldn't get medical assistance, SSI, and medical, because she had a house. The house had 12 liens on it. The house had to go through foreclosure before I could apply for SSI. SSI was the goal for me because everything was included. I knew that she would get medical assistance and whatever. She could go to a day program eventually and all that. None of that. So I was getting ready to graduate. I had to get $20,000 in school loans because she needed 24-hour care.
Yeah.
It's just me and my kids. So I had to pay people to come in and sit with my mother so I could finish school.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, she never got anything. Finally, the house went through foreclosure. I went back down Social Security. Went to apply, this, that, and the other. My mother made 75 cents too much for Social Security. Retirement, that's it. Like, it's not something that's going to run. I mean, it'll run out eventually for us, but she's going to get the same amount to, God forbid the day she closes her eyes.
Right.
Point is, she ain't getting the retirement because you're taking it. Social Security is taking the retirement. But it doesn't matter that they're taking it.
No.
It's the fact that she still makes it. Right. And she makes 75 cents too much. So basically what you're telling me is there's nothing that I can do. But yet you had not trying to throw her under the bus, my sister. I don't think my sister has ever had a job, to my knowledge. She had a history of drug and alcohol abuse, and she has SSI, she has with disability, she had all of her medical was taken care of, nothing, and she's cool with where she is in life. I've learned that now. I can't fight. She's okay with her mediocrity, but she has to order the Pampers for my mother.
Everybody learns the system. It's what you do with what you learn. There's some people that learn the system to work the system and sit on their butt. We need to learn the system to teach the people how to get up off of their butt. That governmental funding, that federal funding that comes in that funds the welfare system, they also have grant funding to fund educational programs. But we need nonprofit organizations like these to actually petition for those funds. And 1, 2, 3, 4 is not enough. So we got to start we actually need to do that research. We need to learn how to become grant writers. I might not be the dreamer, but I definitely need to, I'm going to say it again, I definitely need to start looking for the grants and start writing for these grants because the money is there.
We can see it because you got people collecting billions and millions of dollars to send over here to Houston. This is my thing. I want to know, what do we need to do?
I mean, now that they put everybody out in the county, we can get all the rural money too. We don't have to worry about the urban money.
We get it. But I mean, I'm trying. Who do we need to reach? Who do we need to call that we can start working on that level of assistance?
Us. That's it. There is no help coming.
If the uprise didn't bring what we need, I have no confidence.
I agree.
But let me tell you something. This village is coming together. It's just not televised.
That's right.
We got some great people that's doing some great things in this city. Ceasefire was phenomenal. Other people may not have been impressed, but I watched the clock. I went back to work on the 4th, the day that it started. I had been off on bereavement because my mom passed. I was off for 2 months grieving and dealing with, bereavement. And it was nothing but God. I went back on the same day that ceasefire started. And I work a 12-hour shift, and I watched the clock. And it was a blessing. No cuttings, no stabbings, into that 32nd hour or whatever it was. Wow. And let me tell you something. Since the uprise, I don't call it the riot. People tired.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're hurting. And they're frustrated. The uprise. We want to stop the oppression. We want to heal. We want to do better for ourselves. Since the uprise, a lot of communities, organizers have gotten together. Churches are coming outside of the 4 walls now. They're walking the street. I'm impressed. I see a lot. So I know the difference if nobody else don't. And then I see what other people do. We've partnered with other organizations. We're responsible for our own happiness, our own building of our communities. We are responsible for our babies. And unfortunately or fortunately, I'm going to think of it as fortunately, if their parents can't do it, these are our children, all of them.
Right.
I got 18 grandchildren, but I'm responsible for every child in Baltimore City.
That's right.
I'm going to always be a mother, grandmother, advocate everywhere I go. I want greatness. I have expectations for our community. I have expectations for our children. I expect greatness.
You know, and like right now we're doing this hygiene care bag drive, right? And I've received donations from people I've never met personally or physically. I know of them through Facebook, and you know, and so, but they have, you know, I'll tag a person saying thank you for your donation, and they'll see that and they said, oh, okay, you know, and they'll go out to the Dollar Tree, to Target, to Walmart, and they'll purchase some things and give it to the person who I do know, and the person will say, oh, this is from such and such, right? And I'll hit them up in the Facebook messenger and say, hey, thank you. Right. And so it goes back to the original conversation about what we see is happening in Houston. There is folks that are doing that here, right? But it doesn't get the attention,
right? And that's what we, and that's what I want, and that's what I hope that people hear with this show is that we need. I can tell you this: I can't speak for no other platform besides Sunset Soul. If it's out there, I would love for you to come on. Yes. I would love to push it and show it. That's why and we wish we would get into that, you know, later on. I told you we're going to work it in one way or the other because it needs to be said. People need to know that it is available. And that's what we don't know. As I said, people in Dundalk or Wrightstown, Maryland don't know who you are, where you are, how to reach, because we don't have the media only shows the negative stuff. So when I say why are their cries louder than ours, I want to highlight. It's not just that the responsibility should be Kaepernick's or Kevin Hart's. I'm saying that we, as the older people, as our grandparents, we need to wipe the tears first. We're the ones who hear, you know, what's wrong. We're in the house first before we get to the hospital. We home. Somebody is crying. Who's crying in here that I need to go and address? And then, but all I'm saying is when we get to that place that we go to start fixing up our child boo-boo, we now need to go past that. Like it's not just with I am here and I am coming to help you. As you were saying in the commercial break, you wanted to get into us backing and supporting other people's gifts. I can't do what you do. You know, you that was your cross to bear. I just said that earlier. It's so funny that you use that analogy, because I've been saying that all the time. That's their cross to bear. But just because it's your cross to bear don't mean I can't carry your corner. You know, a cross is a cross. You know, and it hurt and it's painful. And at the end of the day, it helped develop and build your back and build who you are so that you can help other people. But don't keep it in these four walls. We have to go out and unify and come together as a whole. And that's the reason why. And I'm not trying to be smart. The movie Love made me mad because that is not all of who we are. That's not all we have to offer. That was, to me, especially, and not to tell a story, but especially the fact that he would do, you know, ultimately killed the person that he loved. That's not who we are. That's not showing. If you want to highlight what we have to offer, to me, that was disrespect. Truth be told, because where was the love? Where was the unity? Where was the camaraderie? Nothing.
I haven't seen the movie Love, and I'm gonna go home and look it up on demand and watch it tonight. Okay, it's on Netflix.
It's not. I mean, I have a thing with.
But let me tell you something. Some people may disagree, but I was a big Wires fan and The Corner, but The Wire specifically. And to be perfectly honest, my husband may not like it, but I tell the truth. I believe that The Wire mirrored Baltimore to a large extent. I'm talking about the politics. I'm talking about the media. I'm talking about the crime. I'm talking about the crooked police. I'm talking about the drugs, the communities. I think The Wire told the story to a large extent. But getting back to what you said, Lakeisha, that's not all. That's not it.
And but using The Wire, because we got to go to our last commercial break, if I'm not mistaken. Using The Wire, though, what I loved about it is that they showed a team. They might not have been on the right path, but they were on that path together, and that's what that didn't show. And I don't think we do that in Baltimore, because if nothing else, I've been born and raised by the hood. You know how many guys done told me, "Yo, get out the middle of the street."
Absolutely.
You know how many people that said, "Lord, Short, you need to go in the house."
Yeah.
That ain't all we are.
Exactly.
No, I don't agree with that. Look, we're going to finish this conversation. When we get back, stay tuned. This is our last commercial break. We almost done. We in the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes of the show. Wow. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. That's why we said The Wire.
Check out this snippet from the new season of Talk Lately with Monty about Jennifer Holliday.
Anyway, let's get back to
Yeah, well, what I wanted to say is that I can understand 100% where Jennifer Holliday is coming from, and that's sort of kind of where my 20% came from. When I basically came out and said who I voted for, I received a lot of backlash. Even on my own talk show, which comes on every Monday from 5 to 7 p.m., I was called a coon. Okay, yeah, shout out for the plug. But yeah, someone actually, they told CJ Bernie that I was a coon, and that really hurt me. I've been called everything from a fat whatever and everything, but someone actually commented on his Facebook
I didn't even say that. That's kind of
called me a coon, but it's it's crazy because I just feel like someone like Jennifer Holliday, I understand why she stepped down, but I'm kind of upset with her because I think she still should have performed. If you're going to jump out there, then stand in your truth. Don't let no one stop you or change your mind about anything. Listen, no one put a gun to her head and made her sign on for that. But it just seems like, she was basically, she was bullied.
But see, the thing about it is they will put a gun to her head to not do it.
I don't think so.
Well, that's what the threat says. You got to say it's why it's called a threat. You don't know the hypotheticals in there that could happen to you.
Why do you think
she's not a well-known singer, so she's not going around with security. Since she goes to get her tracks at the mall,
right?
Pow!
Right, but at the same time,
we got a whole bunch of dead cats.
Yeah, but like what she said in the footage, today on The View was basically it's not white people who was threatening her. It was us who was threatening her.
Right. Where do you think she live? I think she live in Atlanta.
Exactly.
They gonna get her at the Ku Klux Klan mall and drag her by her hair. Her hair made a cat. She got the new weave.
I don't have Jennifer Holliday money, honey. I don't know what it might be because it's. I don't got Jennifer Holliday money, but me personally, I feel as though like I said, once I kind of came out, and even being on this show, because I'm pretty sure the headline says Trump supporter, I'm putting a lot of myself out there. You know what I'm saying? So I get it.
Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
We are back. Prior to the commercial break, we were talking about the show The Wire and how it highlighted Baltimore awesomely. And Beverly, she said The Wire was great. Right, it was. I mean, I agree. It was definitely. I do remember the corner. I just remember, it going off. It just upset me how it went off.
Yeah, I watched it.
Really?
Yeah, the main characters in The Wire. I mean, the main characters in the corner were my neighbors. They lived 1711 West Fayette Street. Me and my mom lived 1712 West Fayette Street.
Wow. So it was personal for you.
Yeah, very.
Did they do it
personal.
justice? Did they do the show?
They did. They very much so.
Yeah, that's what I was told. Yeah.
I never did it much.
I did, but it was because the main character was the boyfriend of Wood. Weird,
Yeah.
But listen, today's show, which I want to thank my guests, Miss Moore and Mr. Good, for coming out. Mr. Arthur Squeaky Kirk.
Yeah.
He has the rec center.
Ruth M. Kirk.
Thank you so much, because I should have looked it down. But he was supposed to come tonight, but he wasn't able. So he sent some awesome representatives, and they also had their own businesses. Speak of your business, because it was a great leave. I want to let them know.
Okay, it's the name of our organization is Can't Close My Eyes, and our motto is no longer the little dirty secret. And we bring awareness to child sexual abuse and rape violence, and we teach parents, children, and educators how to keep our children safe. And we have a workshop coming up on October the 28th at 3601 Eastern Avenue at the Interpret Library. October the 28th between 2 and 5. And we teach children. We do all kinds of things. And we have children entertaining children. And we're giving away some Walmart gift cards to the first 10 people that bring 2 kids. So it's going to be exciting, but more importantly, it's going to be important to have education that can save a life. And you can research us and look us up at www.can'tclosemyeyes.net, or you can call 410-209-9560 for more information.
Say the number one more time, Ms. Moore.
And it's going to be 410-209-9560.
Thank you so much for coming. Mr. Good, you want to talk about
Maryland New Directions, which is a workforce development nonprofit. If you're looking for work, That's what the organization does. It helps people to find employment. And we have a new CDL training program. Anybody's interested in looking for work and are in the Maryland and Baltimore City area, 410-230-0630. 410-230-0630. And I truly want to thank the host of this show.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you.
You rock.
Yes, be exposed. Yes, love it, love it, love it.
My co-host, we try.
I just sit over here in the corner and be quiet.
Listen, we're here every Thursday. For those who have tuned in, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Thank you again to my guests. And at the end of the day, the highlight of the show was trying to, the focus of the show was trying to highlight the need of Baltimore City. And it wasn't to take away from the need of the city of Texas, or to come the city of hopefully city not of Florida. Houston, oh Lord,
Texas
city
is
of
not
Houston.
a city.
I'm sorry, y'all know.
State of Texas,
know.
we got it.
Or
if I didn't say that, that would
Florida.
be the end of it. She's like, you let me say the city of
That's
Texas.
true. I'm
There
glad
you
she
go.
corrected me. But just so that we kind of take some responsibility of our own. Each one teach one, each one help one. If you grab my hand, you grab another hand, we all can work together.
Absolutely.
I just want us to try to keep forth with the momentum that we have and try to reach beyond every day, try to go a little bit further so that we can get on that grander scale, so that the expectation is more than, like you said, the ceasefire went 32 hours. The next time, let's reach the 72 hour goal. I just feel like that if we not just accept where we are or expect
expectations, absolutely.
Yeah, we know we are more than that. And you're going to, and if you're going to do this, if you're going to talk about Baltimore, you're going to give us all of our accreditation. And I hope that somebody out here, if you see somebody in need, if you see somebody that need help, if you got $2 to send to Houston, give $1 to Houston, but give $1 to somebody here too. That's all, I'm hoping that we can do eventually. Thank you so much for everybody that tuned in. We'll see you on next week, same time, same place. Thank you again to my guests.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great day. We out.
Ladies, are you in need of the best quality hair extensions, a cute outfit, or that perfect pair of shades? Pink Ice products can cover you from head